Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to use notes. I'm going to do it for two reasons. One, I only actually joined the zoo at the end of July last year, so I'm relatively new. The second one is I'm not a zoologist, and there's some long words in this presentation that's been put together by my marketing director who's decided not to come today to help me. So I'm going to do it. My first day at the zoo, I spent half a day with the curator for frogs and sat in a room with him counting very small frogs. The second half of the day I spent with 15 trustees whilst they signed a cheque for £13.5 million, which was the biggest thing they'd ever done. Chester Zoo's major capital projects have been no more than £2 million each time, and they all went out for a glass of wine one night and came back and decided to spend 13.5 million, or 34 if you include VAT. So anyway, a bit about Chester Zoo to start with before we go on to talk about what we're doing. We are a bit like Merlin were talking about this morning. We have 3 years of low and 1 year of high, and we're just about at the end of the 3 years of low and the 1 year of high. But Chester Zoo, that's the front entrance. It's the largest zoo in the UK. We are spread over 110 acres of core zoo, but we own 550 acres of land. So we have a very small zoo in a very big expanse of land that we own. We've got 7 farms, we've got 30 odd residential properties. We've got a big parcel of Ministry of Defence land right in the middle of the zoo, which doesn't help. But I was brought in to try and get the 550 acres to pay for the 110 acres in the middle, and we'll explain about that in a minute. We've got over 11,000 animals, 400 species, and we employ, at the moment, as of yesterday, 602 staff. That will rise to about 750 next year when we open islands. Last year we attracted over 1.4 million visitors to the zoo. And that the difference there, and as Victoria was saying, very highly weather dependent as well. I think our lowest day I've got down here was December last year, 106 visitors in a day, and we peak when the weather's hot to 15,679. And that really depends. If the sun's shining at 8 o'clock in the morning, people come, and if it's raining, they don't. And it makes it very, very difficult to be able to judge your staffing, your resource, etc. But that's part of the fun. Strategically, therefore, our focus is on around the summer months, and we make more in July and August than we do in the other 10 months of the year. But that's life, and again, part of my job is to try and even out those peaks and troughs and make sure that we are profit-making 12 months of the year. And this is our spring campaign, which I think started around February. It's called Bloom, and we attracted an additional 500,000 visitors over the 4 or 5 months that's been going on. And then winter, it's very wet and cold in the zoo in winter. It's dark, you don't see the animals very much, but we had a campaign last year which was called Magic Lantern, did extremely well, and we had over 10,000 visitors that came on an evening between 4:30 and 6:30 over the 6 days before Christmas. So we're doing our best strategically to make sure that we are profit making, and last year we were profit making in the months of November, December and January this year. A bit about us as an organisation. We are a charity. We're a conservation and education charity. Our vision is for a diverse, thriving and sustainable natural world. We want to be a major force in conserving biodiversity worldwide. And when I first joined the zoo, I thought, well, that's rubbish. We can't be that. But we actually are. We own a number of conservation projects across the globe. We have a company in Nigeria. We have an island, which I visited in Mauritius, which is bizarre because you're in Mauritius. You go out onto this island on a boat and you get there and there's Chester Zoo logos all over the place, and we own that. We have a number of other conservation projects worldwide, and we do stuff here in the UK as well. We're in the process of bringing down two sets of breeding Scottish wildcats from Scotland. Scottish wildcats will become extinct in the wild in 2 years' time, and we are saving them. So we're bringing them down from Scotland to Chester, along with 2 or 3 of the zoos in the UK, to breed them off-show so they remain as wild as we possibly can, and then once we breed them, we'll then take them back to Scotland to hopefully conserve the population there. And we give over £1 million worth of funding to conservation projects worldwide every single year. My job is to maintain the balance between being a conservation and education charity and a visitor attraction, and that is quite tough. My job is principally to connect people with wildlife. So, islands. Islands is a brand new experience at Chester Zoo, and the idea is we're going to take our visitors on an expedition, a journey around 6 Indonesian islands to see some of the world's most amazing animals in their natural habitat. It's under construction. It'll be finished in about December this year. We started building in August last year. We've got about 110 contractors on site at the moment, and we're building 5.5 days a week. And we should be finished, say, in December. And we start planting at the end of December until March, April time, and our animals will go into their new enclosures in March to allow them to acclimatise before we open at the end of May next year. It's a major step for Chester Zoo. It's a major step for zoos in the UK, and we expect to attract at least another 150 to 200,000 visitors next year. I think that's quite conservative. I think at least 250,000 additional visitors will come to us next year if the sun's shining, that is. It's an extension of the existing zoo. It's not a separate attraction. It's linked on. It'll all be one ticket price within the zoo. Here's one sort of sketch of it. Islands is an opportunity for visitors to experience the 6 Southeast Asian islands. Our islands have been inspired by the experiences of our own team, so it's actually our people from the zoo, our scientists, our zoologists have actually spent time out in Indonesia and on these islands, and it's those guys that have put this together. And it really is a natural treasure chest of wildlife. There's a number of critically endangered animals out there. And what we intend to do is to be able to take the visitors around each of these islands, and all the islands are very, very different, by a series of bridges to see the critically endangered animals and actually to learn something about those animals and how we're conserving them in the wild. Here's another shot of it, which gives you an idea about the size of it. It's about the size of 7 football pitches. And the largest building there on the right side is Monsoon Forest. And that will be a building with raised walkways, underwater viewing areas. We've just purchased, and this was a new one for me as an MD. I just went out and bought 3 crocodiles from Taiwan. And a free flight aviary, as well as subtropical climates for visitors. You'll get wet when you go into Monsoon Forest, which is quite good. If it's raining outside, you'll get even wetter when you go in. And it'll be thundering and lightning as well, so just local, as it normally is in Cheshire. You'll experience some of the most exotic and endangered species. So there'll be orangutans swinging through the trees, there'll be barley starlings flying past your head. You'll be able to see the crocodiles from above, and then you'll be able to get them at eye level, and then you actually be below them and you'll see them swimming above you. So it'll be very, 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 very special. There'll be about 15 species of animals in islands. My favourite is the Sumatran tiger. We have got 4 tigers at Chester at the present time, mum, dad and 2 cubs. 2 cubs were born last year, and they've got a huge new enclosure for them to go into as of next year. And then once you walk around the whole thing, and it'll probably take you about an hour and a half, we think. There's nearly 2 kilometres of footpath within islands, which takes us up to about 13 kilometres of footpath within the zoo. I've got one of those pedometer things on my arm, and I've managed to walk 17 miles a day so far in the zoo, and hopefully that'll be even more. Helps me keep the weight off. But after you've done the walk around, there'll be what we call a lazy boat ride, which will take you on the route around the zoo, around islands again, for 15 minutes to be able to see some of the sights of the Sumatran orangutans, the tigers, the banteng, and many more species from a totally different perspective. And it's the first time an excursion of this kind has been developed in any zoo in the UK, and it's a key part of our expedition. And construction of the riverbed is now well underway, and the wet weather at the end of the year, we managed to find out that we didn't need to have a liner at the bottom of the riverbed. It filled itself, and the water stayed in there. And it will fill 4 Olympic swimming pools, so I'm told, and it'll be a 450-metre boat ride, 14 boats on a pulley mechanism that will take you around, and each one of these 14 boats will be individually themed and fit in with the surroundings. In terms of size, next one, it's 50,000 square metres, which I said was 7 football pitches, and there's 2 kilometres of footpaths. Plants, £1.2 million worth of plants we have bought. That's 43,000 plants, 2,867 plants per acre. The first tree was nearly put in a couple of weeks ago, and we realised it was the wrong size, so that had to come back out. But we're starting to do that now. We're cultivating many of the plants actually within the zoo itself. We're also getting them from the northwest of England, as well as other plant specialists across Europe. And as I said, they're about to start. And the river that runs through islands will be 8 metres wide, which is quite big. It's about two lanes of a motorway, so it is quite a wide river ride that you'll be able to go on. The Monsoon Forest is the largest exhibit of its type in any UK zoo. For mathematicians out there, it's 31,000 cubic metres, which would mean we can drain apparently 12 Olympic swimming pools into it. So pretty big. Jobs, very important for the local economy. We reckon we're going to have to create an additional 45 jobs. But as I said, we'll probably go up to a complement of 750 staff at peak next year. And we should get to about 1.6 million visitors by the end of next year, I hope. Okay, well, the next slide is a 3D fly-through. I hope this will work, which has been put together by our architect partners, Dan Pullman, which gives you a bit of an idea about what it's going to look like. Okay, so that's Islands. I said strategically, we're now looking to see what we do next. Islands opens next year, and we need to be planning for what our next big move is. We want to become the first zoo in the UK to be a 2-day attraction. Our dwell time at the moment is about 4.5 hours. With Islands opening next year, we expect that to go up to about 6.5 hours, which is getting to nearly a day. So we already have planning permission for a 150-bed hotel, and work will start on that relatively soon. So we'll be able to then move towards being an evening attraction as well, and be able to introduce our visitors to our nocturnal animals, as well as being able to do things slightly different for those people outside the normal trading day. In terms of capital spend, we expect to spend $3 million a year for the next 5 years on improvements into the core zoo to make sure that the core zoo matches what we're doing within the Islands experience. And we're very lucky, we're in the process, we're six weeks into filming a BBC One period drama, which is about the founding of Chester Zoo, which will go out on air on Sunday nights from this autumn. Primetime TV, it's supposed to be like a Downton Abbey sort of thing. It's family drama, some big BBC names in there as well. 3 series have been commissioned, and the first series is partway through filming at the zoo at the present time. And we're also working very, very hard with some of the other elements within the Northwest, within Liverpool and Chester. I predict that we should be at 2 million visitors over the next 4 years pretty easily, which is allowing us to double our conservation funding to 2 to 2.5 million each year. I think that's it.